Hello everybody, welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood in the new fancy studio. First ever, not a Skype interview. I've now transitioned to Zoom because it's more encrypted, and that's very pertinent to our guest, who is Suzie Dawson. She's the president of the Internet Party of New Zealand that was founded by tech entrepreneur Dotcom, and the organizer of the Unity for J movement in solidarity with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. That's how you and I know each other, from doing the online vigils. And tell us, first of all, tell us about the Internet Party of New Zealand and your involvement in that, and why now you are the president of it.
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, Graham, it's really cool to be here on your show. Internet Party was founded, as you said, by Dotcom in 2014 because we were kind of sick of the much of a muchness left and right political paradigms in New Zealand, and we wanted something that could represent the younger generation, you know, millennials and below, that could offer just like a new political paradigm, like one that's not just the stuffy old traditional politics, but a lot more tech focused and a lot more forward thinking and future focused. And it pretty much took New Zealand by storm in 2014, not so much at the polls, but certainly in the media, and just released a whole bunch of really innovative processes like crowdsourced policy making and all kinds of really cool things that New Zealand hadn't seen before from a political party, like sign up by mobile app and just really amazing tech initiatives and really amazing policies that were really fresh and really new. And in 2017, I was privileged to become the leader of the Internet Party and to stand in the general election. And we continued to really push that envelope. We were live streaming our campaign meetings. We were open sourcing our campaign documentation and strategy documents, and we were running really amazing events featuring whistleblowers from around the world, and again, crowdsourcing policy and crowdsourcing initiatives around the issues that, you know, relate to whistleblowing and to privacy and technology in the modern age. So it's been an amazing thing to be a part of. I am now the president of the party. I had to step down as the leader because I exceeded the 3-year rule that you need. Once you've been outside of New Zealand for 3 years, you're no longer eligible to stand. So as of February this year, I transitioned from leader into the party president role, which I'm in now.
And for anybody out there watching who doesn't know who Dotcom is, explain who this person is and what they've done.
Dotcom is a huge supporter of WikiLeaks and a personal friend of Julian Assange. He was also a financial sponsor of WikiLeaks back in 2009, 2010. He was also a very, very successful tech entrepreneur. He had founded the company Megaupload, and Megaupload was used by hundreds of millions of people around the world. It was responsible for 4% of the total internet traffic worldwide. And Kim and his company, Megaupload, were targeted by the FBI on behalf of really huge corporations in America who were very jealous of his success and who wanted his market share. And through Joe Biden and Obama, they pressured the US government to, in turn, put pressure on the New Zealand government to take Kim down by any means necessary. And the FBI came to New Zealand and raided Kim's mansion, arrested him, threw him in jail, and have spent the last more than 6 years trying to stitch him up on total, excuse my language, bullshit charges of copyright infringement, claiming that because some of his users infringed copyright, that therefore he was facilitating that infringement, even though the same rules don't apply to YouTube or to any other platform that allows users to upload content. So they were exposed illegally spying on him, doing all kinds of dodgy things to him. Kim has won multiple cases against the spy agencies and the police agencies for the different ways that they violated his rights, including actually a Human Rights Tribunal ruling recently. Yet the US is still to this day fruitlessly attempting to extradite him to the United States to try him at the Eastern District Court of Virginia, which is the precise same prosecutor as is going after Julian Assange and WikiLeaks and Edward Snowden.
Wow. So how did you get involved, like, with this? And now you're really at the forefront of it.
Well, I've been supporting WikiLeaks and Julian Assange since 2010. I was writing about WikiLeaks and Julian and Chelsea Manning and the various releases that were coming out from 2011. In 2012, I began investigating the FBI's role in New Zealand because they were completely out of their jurisdiction when they came onto New Zealand soil and got in cahoots with special services in New Zealand to execute this raid on Dotcom, which was done 72 hours prior to then the raids on the Occupy movement in New Zealand, which I was very heavily involved in as well. So there was this kind of convergence of events between WikiLeaks and Dotcom and Occupy. All these things were unfolding at the same time, and the evil at the root of all of it was these US government agencies who were completely overstepping the mark and the jurisdiction to basically oppress people for their political opinions and for their democratic actions. And this completely incensed me, and so I threw myself into trying to get to the bottom of what was happening. And I mentioned earlier that Dotcom was illegally spied on by New Zealand agencies. They violated their own charter in spying on a New Zealand resident. They were not allowed to do that at all. But it emerged in that same year in 2012 that they had also spied on 88 other New Zealand citizens at the same time. They targeted 88 other people. And over the course of the last 6 years, I've managed to finally establish that it's highly, highly likely that I was one of those 88 people who were targeted. So it's been kind of like this never-ending saga. As you know, Julian was on the Pentagon manhunt list from 2010, so anybody who was even vaguely related to WikiLeaks was a person of interest from that point onwards. And then you add in the FBI and Dotcom in 2012. And Occupy, I mean, we know from Pacific Justice Fund, I believe it was, that it got the first OIA requests back, which proved that Obama's White House was directly involved, as were the DHS and the FBI, in the global suppression of the Occupy movement. So it's really what these governments have been up to, the Western governments, is no better than, you know, third world tin pot dictators, in my opinion. And we still see that targeting. I mean, they're openly admitting, the CIA now, you know, WikiLeaks is their number one target. And we're seeing the net effect and the impact of those actions against publishers and journalists and activists.
Well, that's the thing that is so kind of, it's surreal. I mean, we live in crazy times. There's just no two ways about it. I mean, I was introduced to you through Elizabeth Lee Voss from Disobedient Media, and she put me in touch with you, I believe, and then you asked me to start partaking in the Unity for J online vigils for Julian Assange, and those have been profound for me. And I mean, obviously I knew who Julian was and how he's been treated, but then meeting all of these other people from all these walks of life, talking about this, and what is so startling for me is that, and I've said this numerous times on the vigils, is if they can do this to Julian, they could do this to anybody. I mean, they could do this to anybody. And you know, they when I just did a video on Serena Shim, you referred me to her about her story.
Oh.
And you know, she's the woman that was born in Detroit and was killed, and there's no investigation, nobody cares. But like, when you know, the only time anyone speaks up about a Western journalist, you know, being in harm's way or jailed or whatever, is if it's that Western journalist is sort of pushing their propaganda or pushing their agenda or anything like that. So it's and we're going to get into Vault 7 on this in this conversation, but I just want to ask you personally how this is affecting you.
Big sigh. The majority of my work is based on defending other people, defending whistleblowers and defending at-risk journalists. I guess a little bit like Julian in that regard, because Julian is a huge defender of whistleblowers and of at-risk journalists. And that's one of the reasons why I have his back. Because I feel like when he has done so much to save other people and help other people who had nowhere else to go, people like Emin Husseinov, who, you know, from Azerbaijan, who was also stuck in an embassy, had been granted asylum and couldn't get to Switzerland, and it was WikiLeaks that came and swooped in and saved his life, literally, and got him to a position where he could actually go into where he could realise his asylum. And I look at Julian and I think, who's there to do that for Julian? And that's what drives me. So there has absolutely been a huge personal impact on me. I can't deny it. I live away from my family, my friends, my country, my belongings, my property, my everything. You know, I've had to sacrifice a huge amount, but I do it for the right reasons. I have more self-esteem and more confidence that what I'm doing is the correct thing than ever before, any other activity I've ever been involved in. Because when you know that you are righteous in your commitment, and when you know that you are motivated for pure reasons, for pure humanity and compassion, it doesn't matter what price you have to pay for that. The price has no bearing. And I can tell you that every nasty thing that happened to me as a direct result of my journalism and my activism, every horrible thing that the state did to me was like a confirmation to me that they are wrong, that they have no moral high ground, they have no justification for the ways that they oppress us. And it was a confirmation for me that what I was doing was necessary and right. And that's why I continue to do it. And I think for me, there's no more noble cause than to stand in defense of other people. And I'm proud to do that with Uncensored. Very, very proud.
Well, it's really amazing to see, and I applaud, you know, what you personally have had to go through and the fight that you're fighting. And the thing that I have noticed in this last year and a half or so of doing this show and being on Jimmy Dore and interviewing people like Elizabeth Lee Voss and doing the Unity for J vigils, everybody seems to have this, there's a constant. Everyone just wants the truth. That nobody the only agenda that any people that I come across is that they just want the truth. And anytime they have some outside agenda, it's very obvious. Once you become so authentic and like, I just want the truth, this isn't right. Like what you're saying, I know every cell of my being, this is not right. So I'm gonna just do the right thing, and I can look myself in the mirror, and when I die, I can face whatever maker, whoever is there at the end, and say, I did my best, you know? And it's a constant theme of the people that I'm being introduced to, like meeting people such as yourself. And the thing I ask people that are in this, because I ask myself this a lot and people ask me this, so how do you do all this daily fighting and then not, like, how do you keep yourself from going nuts?
They call it self-care. So like for me, it might be playing the piano or listening to Dinosaur Jr., you know, my 90s music that my kids laugh at me for listening to. Like I used to laugh at my parents for listening to the Beatles. Like, it's like everyone has their own little outlets, you know, and that's important, remembering the things that you love and still taking the time to do them. I tend to binge on work and activism. Like, or especially if I'm writing an article, I will spend ridiculous amounts of hours until I'm literally falling asleep on my keyboard. But then once I get that piece out, or once I get that event done, then I'll take a few days and I'll just recharge. And so that's really, really important, because you do work at, I mean, God, in my previous professional career, I was earning a ton of money for not doing very much work, and now I earn practically no money for doing insane amounts of work, like that nobody would ever do. You know, it's beyond like double shift and stuff, like well beyond double shifts, but it's critically important work. It's vital work. It's work that's so much bigger than me, so much bigger than me, and I get to work with most amazing people. Activism attracts the most exceptional people, the most empathetic and compassionate, real people who really care. You know, when you go and work a 9-to-5 job, people don't really care, because their motivation is to pay their bills or to watch the clock until they can get out at the end of the day. Activism isn't like that. People in activism are prepared to give everything they have to change, to effect change in this planet. And that means you're constantly working with incredible people. I am blown away by the people that we work with in Unity4J. I sit there with people whose work, like Chris Hedges, Ray McGovern, Bill Binney, Dan Ellsberg. These are people I've watched every video, every interview they've ever done. I've been a fan of theirs for donkey's years, and I can't believe that I have the luck to even be vaguely anywhere near their presence, let alone sit on a camera and interview them.
I mean,
I am the luckiest girl in the world, literally.
And you know, you bring up such great points, is that the people that are attracted to this, and I'm meeting some people that are so I work in show business, and I've been in show business a long time, and it attracts, I know a lot of very creative people, very open mind, very free thinking people with regard to creating entertainment. But the activist is a whole nother ball game. A lot of people are attracted to show business for some very selfish reasons. Some people are doing it for noble reasons. I want to entertain people, and I got a voice, and this, that, and the other thing. But there's a lot of selfishness, and there's a lot of ego and that kind of thing. And then I'm getting into this activism world. I mean, I didn't even, you know, it's like, Graham, you want to do Unity4J? Yeah, I'm in. And then I'm just all of a sudden, I'm sitting there going, am I really talking to Ray McGovern? Is that really what's happening right now? I mean, and I don't, you know, I'm friends with big name celebrities. I don't get starstruck, but when I'm around somebody that's put it all on the line like that, that to me is like, it is like humbling, like you say. And I just, in talking with you and knowing what you've gone through, I'm in awe of it. And it's the thing that we all have, I think, is like, I mean, my studio, I sold my kitchen table. I have a 1-bedroom apartment. I got rid of I eat on the couch to set this up, because this is more important to me than, you know, sitting at a table when I eat, you know, like this is, and everybody has put in and sacrificed so much. I mean, I've lost work over this, which is nothing compared to what you and others have had to sacrifice, but that's the game. That's what a part of this being an activist is, and talking about things and getting to the truth, not pushing some neoliberal or identity politics agenda, but just like, this is not right. And it doesn't matter if it's the person that I voted for twice, like I voted for Obama twice, and part of the reasons I started the show is like, I can't play this game anymore of the Democrats aren't as bad. Not when he's done all of those things. So what are some of the things that you've learned recently from just doing this, either personal reasons or professional reasons, that you've learned from organizing the Unity4J?
I've learned a couple of things. For me, Unity4J is like a rehash of everything I was doing in New Zealand, but it's just a much bigger scale, or not so much bigger, but has more of a global reach. In New Zealand, I learned that if the media will not push the narrative that you want, that you have to push that narrative yourself. You have to become the media. And I learned that if you're relentless about doing that, that eventually, kicking and screaming, the media will come along after you and chase your narrative. And in doing that, you can set the agenda, but it takes a massive amount of persistence. I've been applying that principle to Unity for J this year, and I've been watching it work. So I see now that it is becoming socially acceptable again at a large scale to support Julian, because every person that steps forward and says, I support Julian, I'll put my face to this movement, I'll put my name to this movement, I'll sit on a 50-hour vigil and advocate for Julian, is teaching hundreds of thousands of people, hey, these people aren't scared to support Julian. These people are supporting Julian on principle, and this is an urgent situation. We do have to rise in support of Julian. And that is directly tackling years of $1 million smears. I mean, in terms of movies, movies that have been created for mass audiences to smear Julian. Like WikiLeaks, We Steal Secrets, which is one of the terrible hit piece movies that was made about Julian and WikiLeaks, and vast resources have been poured into completely destroying Julian's reputation in the eyes of the public, and infiltrating activist circles and turning all of his natural support base against him. And so when Unity for J comes along, we're just flipping that on its head. And all of these years' worth of work put into destroying his reputation, that wrong is being rectified in real time on those vigils. And we are setting a trend whereby people want to join and be a part of it, because we don't engage in negativity in Unity for J. We're always pushing positive messages about Julian, about press freedom, about human rights, about anti-war. These are very positive messages and the Unity platform itself of embracing everybody who wants to work to support Julian, regardless of what their political ideology or whatever little niche they fit into, or who their friends are or whatever, but just making it open to everybody. And so what I've seen is that if you're brave enough to buck those trends, if you're brave enough to buck the mainstream narratives, and I mean, think about how isolated everybody has become since 2016. There's been so much pressure applied to people. People have been taught you can't be friends with someone who doesn't believe what you do. You can't be friends with someone who didn't vote the way that you did. Everyone's been really like siloed. And I feel like Unity for J has just been smashing that apart, and like to really good purpose and good end. So for me, it's not so much what I've learned, but what it's reinforced for me. It's reinforced that if we just stop listening, I think it's Caitlin Johnston who says, all we have to do is say no. You know, when the mass media tells us who we have to be friends with or what we have to think, all we have to do is say no. And I feel like Unity for J has created this new path where you don't have to be in Trump camp, you don't have to be in Clinton camp, you don't have to be in whatever camp. You can just be in Free the Publisher camp, and it doesn't actually matter what your politics is. If you care about human rights, you care about press freedom, and you're willing to stand up for it. So it's been amazing in that regard.
Well, Suzie, we're going to have to do a separate video on Vault 7 because this was amazing. So I really, I very much thank you for your time, and everybody please, is there a website people can listen to or follow your work or anything like that?
Sure. Well, the movement website is unity4j.com, unity4j.com. And if you put Unity for J into YouTube, you'll see we've got something like 140 hours of live video interviews with amazing people spanning the last 4 months. If you're interested in me personally, my website is suzie3d.com, SUZI3D.com. Though to be honest, I've been so busy on the movement that I actually haven't even updated my personal website. It's a few months out of date, but you're welcome to go and track back through all my old journalism and what I've been up to in previous years. Or you can just put Suzie 3D into YouTube and see tons of content and different work that I've done across the years. But thank you so much for being a part of it, because you're one of over 70 brave celebrity figures who've come on board this movement and been fronting it. So, you know, without you, we're nothing. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm honored that you asked me, and you know, I'm probably just a dumb comedian that doesn't know any better, so I'm going to just keep shooting my mouth off and telling people what I think about the truth. And that's what we do as comics. We stand on stage, and Lenny Bruce said, he said, all comics have a built-in bullshit detector. That's what makes you a comic. So we're all, many of us, that's why Jimmy Dore got me involved in this, to just go, this isn't right. This isn't right. That's that.
And how cool is Jimmy as well for being a part of Uncensored? He's been on the vigils twice now, and I massively respect that, because I know that, you know, there's little birdies in his ears going, oh, don't be associated with this or that or the other thing. And he's like, screw this. I'm for Julian. I'm for press freedom. I don't give a crap what anyone says. I'm here. I'm doing it. And that I've got so much respect for people who do that, who just rise above the bullshit and just zero in on that cause. And I really respect his involvement, your involvement, Ron Placone's involvement. We've got so many amazing people who've been a part of it.
Awesome. Well, all you guys watching out there, please go to Unity for J. There's a bunch of videos. I've taken some of my interviews and I've posted them on this Political Vigilante channel. Check out Suzie Dawson's work, and of course support the show, patreon.com/Graham Elwood. And then if there's anybody out there who's new, please hit the subscribe button. YouTube has throttled our numbers. We have stayed at 9,700 subscribers for over 2 months. That is a statistical improbability. So they're throttling our numbers. So make sure, even if you've hit the subscribe button numerous times, and then hit the bell for notifications, because we do a lot of live chats and all that. So Suzie, thank you so much, and everybody out there, keep making Gotham great again.